There's no way this is your song.
It's absolutely not. It's actually my dad's song. So, frequently in the car. And I just remember the one time he happened not to play it. And then I'm like, okay, so Dad, go Baba play that song. As long as you love me, it was a bang, Seipati Moloi. And then, so it's a way of.
How old were you then? Do you remember?
I can't remember, but I may have been just a little under 6 years old, possibly.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, like, I wasn't too young or too old.
Yeah.
Because it was around the time that, they were still together with my mom.
Yeah.
So it was around those years.
Yeah. You still have both?
Both alive still, just not together. They separated now. But
Separated and happy?
Yes, separated and happy.
Isn't it amazing now that you are older and you see them as a boy and a girl?
Yeah.
Isn't it amazing?
Yeah.
That when you start seeing your parents, like, wait a minute, there's something in him that says, you're still a boy. Yeah. Something in her that says, you're still that girl.
Yeah, true. And you understand them a bit better, right? Yeah. And I think I've learned to extend a lot of grace, especially to my dad.
Okay.
But a lot of grace.
Why to him, not to your mom?
To my mom, I think because she was there to answer tough questions and he wasn't. Still not very comfortable with that. Like with my dad, like, you had to like ask him, Dad, I want to ask you a question. So then I'm like, well, I don't know. So then that's the end of the conversation, really.
Oh, okay.
And then, but I learned to push through and just ask anyway. I never get the answer I want. I always end up in an argument. But,
yeah,
it's who he is.
Sizwe is the first thing he says, like, she asks a lot of questions.
I do. I'm inquisitive, I'm curious, and I would much prefer getting the answers from the person rather than assumptions, right? So my views on everything, I at least try from Uncle T. Because I don't want to entertain everything else. So I'll ask. So whatever he tells me, get like, hi, but so it's really
because then you have a go back. You're like, I asked you this, and this is what you said.
Exactly. Exactly.
Now, take me back to last week, Wednesday.
Last week.
Was it Thursday?
It was Thursday. The 29th.
Tell me. Guys, if you don't know who I'm talking to, this is the Seipati. Hence we call today Seipati Day.
Yay!
We asked a simple question. Leap year is about, a girl being brave to ask the question. And you did.
I did.
And little did you know it will happen.
No, yeah. So when he agreed, to be honest, Uncle T, so I just put it out there. I think I've wanted to meet up with him for a while.
Yeah.
Those who know me know the story. Right? And very often I'd be like, let me just drop a DM and just say,
come on. Man. Yes.
And then, and there was just this voice, no, don't do it. Also, I mean, he's somebody who says no. He's very comfortable to say no, right? Strong boundaries, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, when you hosted the show on the 13th, and that topic, that voice, it was strong. Today is the day. And literally, that's what I did. I was like, I'm just going to shoot my shot. It's fine. Uncle T, And honestly, I was prepared for a no, because I know he's quite comfortable saying that, like I said. So when the yes came, it took a while to...
Really?
Yeah, it really did. It took a while for me to accept that he had said yes. And it was only later when Tato called and said, well, sweetie, you need to respond. And I'm like, And the week leading up to the day, he wasn't in studio. He's not coming. He's done. Like, he's definitely not going to come. And then I was nervous, and I was like, but at least I would have asked.
Yeah, you did.
I would have asked.
You did.
So, and that's it. And then when the date eventually happened, you did not lie, sir, when you said you're going all out. Yeah. Makeup done. The crew was amazing. Everything went by so fast.
Chauffeur driven.
Oh my God. Like, nah. Ke hopola ne ha fihla to my place. Ke nna yo ke lata le mati. Are ke re ha hape motho ke tloela. And I'm like, I'm always opening my own doors. So That was such a sweet touch as well.
That's right.
The whole, and then the flowers, of course.
Yeah.
The size of a newborn baby, again, never have received. And it was nice. It was so many nice moments for me. Like every, and then of course, Beki Bona hair.
Ay, banna.
Pilu yare do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jelly
Oh
knees.
my God. Like, then I saw him and it was unbelievable that it was happening, basically.
But there's a thing about finally meeting your crush, right? That can crush you.
Yeah. True. So, I always want to prepare myself, like at a mental level and especially spiritual.
Yeah.
So I literally was like, okay, if I'm going to meet this guy, I really just want to be calm, so I'm not like over the top. So throughout, it was just about calming myself down, of course. And I mean, days before, once he agreed, then I started like channeling that energy. Yeah. So when I eventually met him, and when I saw him, he's got, I can't fully describe the energy he has. I know often on social media you say, oh, he's so cocky. He's got an intense energy. That's without a doubt. Like when he sits with great confidence, like he fills the room in the sense, and it's comfortable. It's not an uncomfortable. What I've realized, actually, in the moments he sat, what I recognized was the fact that if you're insecure, you're going to have a problem with his energy.
Well read.
Right? So that's what I picked up. Yeah. He's so sweet. But and when I was hearing, like, during the preparations, he's actually shy. Sizwe, shy.
Yeah.
No. And like, he actually is. He actually is. He is. So, but very a gentleman.
Yeah.
I was comfortable. I didn't feel insecure.
Yeah.
And I think maybe it's because of the prep I was doing for myself. It was fun.
Dry conversation, flowing conversation.
But like, you pass because like, I was like, what? Because when I saw him, I was like, you think guys for sure he touches up. My God, no. Yeah. He is divine. Yeah. Like, he's absolutely wow.
Yeah.
And then, no conversation. The conversation was good. It wasn't dry.
Yeah.
I mean,
If
I'm like this. Anyone is going to tell you I'm consistent with my energy.
That's right.
So, no, it was fun. It was fun. I wish it was longer, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was fun.
Tell me about the food. Tell me about marble. Tell me about the experience.
Stunning. So the food, we started off, so we got the bread. They had this bread, so they had the butter that looks like a marble. I remember when we both looked at it, like, dude, I think that's butter. Yeah. And then he was also like, and he poked into it. I'm like, it's so fascinating because they really made it look like marble. Yeah. And he's like, he actually went for a second serving for the bread. I probably shouldn't say that, but I'm going to say it. He enjoys his food.
He loves it. Listen,
like,
you want to dine?
Yeah.
You want a dining partner?
It's Sizwe.
Sizwe.
For sure. And he ate. We had the bread. It was really nice. I tried not to have too much because, like I said, like for me, if I had whenever I go out, I have to choose between the starter and the dessert. I can't have all three.
Is it?
No, and then especially because of the time spent, I knew we don't have enough time, and I really want to enjoy the main. Yeah. So we got the bread, and then we had a bit of the starter, which is nice. And I didn't finish too much of the starter because I knew that I have to make space. We never finished the food. Never got to dessert, and it was fun. Just great conversation.
Dessert, girl?
Believe it or not, I'm shocked. Damn. I actually should have just.
And I was like, Seipati is the kind of girl who's like, you know what? I'm gonna start with dessert.
I should have.
Life is too short.
No, I would have loved to do that, but then I remembered where I was. I was like,
be yourself.
No. I was like, no. So I was like, no, let me just follow protocol. In order, in sequence. And so I did that and I enjoyed myself. I enjoyed myself. It was a great day.
Was that your me for me day?
Absolutely. It's been a friend of mine, when I told her, she's like, you've just given birth to your manifestation. Yeah. And I was like, dude, yes, actually, because a lot of people I didn't tell a lot of people that I'd done and I was not going to, right? Because I was afraid of disappointment. Because he could have at any point decided he doesn't want to. And I would have had to respect
and
that.
him being a businessman, that week was supposed to be on air. And business called and you needed to leave the country.
And he was polite, Shem. He mentioned that. But we both also agreed though that the only reason he agreed was because of you. And I'm like, exactly. Exactly. That's exactly why you managed to come. Because it's about any other way, there's no way.
He texts me over from across the borders. It's like, Uncle T, I am still going to honor the appointment. Please, I'll be there.
Yeah, that literally, you were the only hope I was clinging on to. Because I was like, Leha Uncle T. I guess I'll talk Uncle T. No matter what, I guess, because it will get awkward in the studio.
No, he was my hero. He really
I'm
was.
so glad he's a good sport, so that was really nice. Yes, that was a day for myself. Like I was saying, I had been wanting to meet the guy. I don't know when it happened that I was like, oh my gosh, he's got such a cool energy. But I think it intensified around the time I started listening a little bit more frequently, right? So you'd see him on socials, you'd see his attitude, and he gets a lot of flack for that. And it's weird, like, because when he's on radio, there's a bit of a difference, right? There's a subtleness, there's a sweetness, and that's why, like, some people, I'm like, but you don't listen to him. I don't think you get it, right? And I know that he's not very big on expressing emotions. That's what I used to pick up, especially when he was on Drive, right? Especially when they would talk about the more soft stuff. Yeah, he wouldn't really delve too much in that. But then you could pick it up a little bit. So making that decision to shoot my shot was really just about me. And I think I've always been that person. I strongly believe in going after what you want.
Okay.
Being unapologetic for it.
That's right.
And I've had a lot of, like, naysayers sometimes with certain things, and not because it's out of spite or whatever. And I remember seeing a video once, Jay-Z, where he's actually doing an interview and he spoke about his uncle or something, a relative of his, when he spoke about a moment where he had wanted to do something and his uncle was almost discouraging him. And in that moment he recognized that it wasn't that he was being malicious or anything, but he was speaking from his point of insecurity. And this is something that I always try to tell, whether it's friends or junior staff. It's
powerful.
like you have to push past the discomfort. And this particular moment for me was exactly that. It was one of those, after it was done, and I'm not saying Sizwe was anything to conquer, but it was the moment for me. And it really just said to me that I can do anything with her. There's absolutely nothing in Gatsua. So for me, that's so it was a me for me day.
Because, like I even said earlier on, that you'll take that leap. You may not win, but other doors open. Right? And those doors, one of them is you saying, oh man, I am my own hero.
Exactly.
Right? Now, talking about the upbringing, taking me back to mom and dad, was this instilled? Stand up for yourself type thing?
Yeah, it was. So there are quite a few, and I think this is sadly the reality for many of us, right? Where parents divorce or you have an absent father or whatever. And the sort of community that comes together is women, right? You're surrounded by them. The role that they play. So I'm surrounded by a lot of, that strong, woman energy. And it was instilled from, as far as my granny, because my granny actually own a tavern, right? This is mom's side. So my mom. And again, it was a case of she had all these kids. Oh my God, Mantebele.
Ow, Mantebele. Yes, Yawa.
And I think that also contributed quite significantly to my love for music. But that's a conversation, its own conversation. But having seen that, like, here you are, I think a lot of people back then, in any case, right, a lot of and I was thinking about it, the entrepreneurial spirit comes a lot from survival. It's about surviving, right? Like, I don't think if they had the same opportunities that would have been an option for her, but she didn't. So from there, my other grand as well, the paternal one, the one I lost quite recently, she too, thank you, she too was entrepreneurial, very strong, pushing through whatever. Like, you can't tell both of them anything, and that has trickled down to everybody, especially the women.
Yeah. Would you call what you did in terms of your leap year, taking a leap, was this the first, or would you go back and say, no, it started here? You can pinpoint a day where you knew Seipati is there for Seipati.
Okay, so I'll take it not too far back, but when there was a point where I had done an internship, right?
Okay.
At UJ. I'd just gotten out of doing my PR diploma, and I had a bit of a stint at Doorfontein. And while there, I had a good time. I really enjoyed myself. And there was an incident, and I never spoke about it. It's the first time I publicly speak about this. But there was a moment, I actually eventually got fired from that internship. And it was really embarrassing for a little while. But when I think about it, I was like, actually, I made the right decision. So I was really just protesting unfair treatment, because we work. If I'm going to work and do something, I'll get my hands dirty and I'll do it, right? I don't mind. I'll see it through and I'll finish. And together with my colleague, we worked until busiku. And at that time, we didn't know Uber or anything like that. So no e-hailing services. And we didn't have cars. And everybody had left, even the guy who was supposed to help us. And I remember being so upset at that they didn't honor the end of that agreement, right? And they left two young girls. And that upset me a lot, to the point that I literally, and I hate to say this because it sounds bad, but I literally decided to sabotage as a form of protest. I said, I'm not going to that event. I had my phone off. My biggest regret, though, is having persuaded the next person to do that, because then we were let go. Right? So that's my biggest regret where that's concerned. But for me at that time, it made sense. It was a form of showing. And looking back now, and with age, I could have definitely had the conversation with the person, with my manager, and said, you could have handled things.
You dropped us.
You dropped us. It was unfair. We were there, and we were really just doing our part of the team's responsibilities. And you really just made us look out for ourselves. And we were interns, and we didn't know. Obviously got fired, and I had to go back home for 6 months, back to Kwak. And that was horrific.
Yes.
It was horrific. But horrific in the sense that, I'm feeling sad. It's not what I wanted. And you worried that what have I done? What if I never get a job, Cherryl? So, I went back. There's not much. If you've been to Kwakwa, there's really not that much.
Yes.
Right? And I wanted to be in a space where I'm constantly motivated. And Gauteng, Johannesburg specifically, is that. And so what ended up happening, I spent 6 months here at home, apply and things like that. And eventually I worked at my grand's shop and I was fine. But then one day I decided, this isn't for me. I would have to be serious. And I accepted a second internship. And then the rest is history.
So the day you stood up.
Yeah. So that was the day I remember standing up and saying, you can't treat people like that. That's not okay.
And it was not just about Seipati, it was just in general.
In general, you can't.
Even for those who come after me.
Yes, you can't. There are better ways of treating people. I couldn't stand it. And I think it was a bit of a risk. I felt that it was a risk at the time because of, like I said, I'm an intern. I don't think interns would consider doing that now. There aren't that many jobs.
Yes.
But for me, it felt right. That if I don't do this, I'm not going to be happy with the fact that
Have you ever met this boss? Cross paths
ever since, no. But I did send an apology a few years later. I think I did feel bad. And genuinely, that's the type of person I am. If I feel that I could have handled the situation better, I'll always go back and say, look, I did wrong at this point.
Wow, that's big.
And it's uncomfortable. It's so uncomfortable. But
because you're being vulnerable, right? Yes. Did it land? Are you sure they read it?
That's the thing. You never know. I don't. She never got back to me. And I don't know. But I did apologize.
Well, she'll be watching this.
I hope she'll listen and watch.
It is Power Lami, Zuko Essay with Nabisa G. Tell me about the song.
That one is, if I was to dedicate a song to my daughter, it would be that.
Is it?
Yeah.
Tell me.
The lyrics, Uncle T, for me, I see it as a prayer for your child.
Why daughter?
I know it's not specifically for daughter, but because I have a daughter.
Oh.
You know, I have a 7-year-old. Well, she's going to be 7
Oh,
September.
cool.
So,
Her name? Oh, Banna. Hey, hello, girly girl.
Oh, if only na mametse hle. Oh, aza o sa tseba gore ke mamela khaya. Wa tseba, o sa tseba. And o rata, okay, this is weird to say, but o tla re, is that Uncle C's? I was like, yeah, it is.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, you know, she's that's my forever.
Yeah.
I absolutely love her. I want the best for her.
Yeah.
I mean, as a parent, you
didn't even think you had it in you.
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
And when my one aunt said to me, Buddy, it's the type of love that grows. It never stops growing. And
that's why it pains you.
It hurts sometimes.
It hurts sometimes. Exactly, it does.
It hurts sometimes.
When they are not feeling well or when you need to chastise.
Exactly.
You feel like,
and it's always that part, like you want to take, how about Gula, you want to take it.
Yeah.
So usually when Butle would get a call, especially when she was not allowed to be on medication, because Baba Fadi placebo man. It's a sweet.
Yeah.
You know, I often felt like it was just a placebo effect. Yeah. So, and she would be uncomfortable. I would always, because I'd say, I'll take the flu, it's fine, give it to me. It's okay.
Yeah.
That's what being a parent is. You literally live your whole life, laying your entire life for your child. But it's beautiful.
Right.
It's beautiful.
By the way, Seipati and I are not meeting for the first time.
No.
And she wants to tell a story.
Yeah. So years ago, I actually don't know, may have been, I don't know, 5 now?
Yeah, easy, 5 years.
6, give or take. Vega. I went to
Vega University.
Yes, the one in Randburg. And Uncle T was my lecturer. So much fun. Not for a long time, unfortunately, but it was easily one of my favorite moments. Yeah. You know, just in how you were able to share the knowledge, help us understand concepts. It was one of our favorite, I think, lectures.
Yeah.
You know, we loved it.
Yeah.
And yeah, short-lived, but I think a lot of us, I know I speak to, like, I still talk to Andile, Ipeleng, and some of them now, their names escape me, but we still talk.
Sure.
So I know with them even. It's a good memory.
A very great cohort of postgrads, people who are already in industry and they want to learn what the science of marketing and how they can immediately apply it in their lives.
Exactly.
They liked and not liked me at times because 1 week, first 2 weeks I will teach and then the third week they think they're coming in to learn and I'm like, put your bags there at the back. Spot test.
I hate it that. Because you're not like prepared. Like, because all of us were working, right? So we'd have to spend hours at work.
Yeah.
And like typical student behavior, towards the hour, also fast. So when the spot test came, it was, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I would usually thumbsuck at that point because I'm like, I just have to now remember what happened last week.
That's right, yeah.
And yeah, but it was fun. It was really fun.
And the reason I did that is because one of the goals I was given by the varsity was you need to raise the average for this class. It was at the low bar. They like raise it up. Why? Because they know the subject, but somehow when it comes to exams, they can't just seem to, you know. And why? Because you guys are so used to applying.
Yeah.
But you are able to retell that in a sort of academic way.
Yes.
So it's like, okay, let's try and raise that. That's why every time after I marked you guys, I'll put the average on the board.
Hey, but
and I'm like, this is what you guys.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh.
And sometimes it wasn't good.
No. Most times.
Most times it's too much. Sometimes.
But here you are studying while working. Who you work for, what do you do?
I'm now with Doctors Without Borders. Most people will probably know them by the French name. I will not attempt. 7 years in, I still don't know how
something
to say
sans frontières medical. Yeah, something.
The only confident part, sans.
Yes.
I
Doctors Without Borders.
Doctors Without Borders, yes. I've been there for Yeah, it will be my 8th year in September.
Wow. Yeah.
Love it.
Yes.
Quite recently, I would say I'd applied for, I'm in a different position.
Yeah.
Also, an element of having taken a leap. I was doubting myself.
Oh.
And actually, at one point, I withdrew my application, to be completely honest. I was like, I don't think I can. And the importance of surrounding yourself with people who see you when you don't. So I went back into the race and managed to get to the finish line. But a great organization. What do
you do?
So we are, I don't want to say it, just say our typical, but yeah, it's really just humanitarian assistance to those who need it. So we are in several countries, about 70 countries.
Okay.
We had projects, we still have a project, Eastern Cape project, where we're now focusing on non-communicable diseases, because there's obviously a rise in things like diabetes, etc.
Yeah.
Prior to that, we had projects in Khayelitsha, one of our, most, I think it was the first one, actually. Very important during the times, its inception was around the times HIV and AIDS denialism in the country.
Yes.
So the amount of influence that Doctors Without Borders had there, stories for the books. Beautiful work that was done. Really just a bunch of people committed in bringing their skills and making a difference in people's lives. So we had that one, and there was one in Ishowe, also an amazing one that focused on HIV as well.
Yeah.
And we have several others. I mean, we work with key populations, so sex workers, men who have sex with men. We also deal with advocacy, so sometimes access to health.
Yes.
There'll be people who may need certain medication but don't have access to that, so we'll be advocating. We'll be the ones telling big pharmaceuticals that, come on, man, medicine is not a luxury. Make it accessible.
So you become a lobbyist.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's done. So that's pretty much, it's amazing work done by a group of amazing people.
So these doctors are freelancing to work with you guys, or how does this work? How is this network work?
Okay, so it's not just the doctors. So we have both non-medical and medical professionals. So you will have the medical, you'll have logisticians as well, you'll have engineers as well. So it's a really a mixed bag. So I think oftentimes the misconception is I have to be a doctor.
Yes.
No, you can literally come work for us.
What do they do? Do they volunteer?
So it is considered volunteering, but to be honest, you will earn a salary. It won't, and I have to be completely honest with people, because I don't want them to think that, oh my gosh, I'm going to earn the same salary if I had a private practice. That's not, we want people to understand that we are still an NGO. And we really depend on funds, so donors, and those are the people that actually help us. So so they work, you'll apply like any other job, and you will then be given space to go work wherever they identify the need. You'll be taken to work there and the commitment should be for about 6 months onwards, and once you're in our pool, whenever we need you, then you should be able to work with us.
Are you saying you have taken some South Africans elsewhere around the world?
Absolutely, we have. There are quite a few that have been with us for a while and continue to work with us. So we'll focus on South African, Southern African. We'd really love people to work for our organization. It's I want to say that people must just read more in understanding it, because it will help.
You see it in the news every day, international, local, you name it.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's our department's work. Big apps comes.
Come on.
So that's so a great organization. Absolutely love it.
Seipati Moloi is my guest, and we are getting to know her. And the video is already there of her lunch date as she took a leap. And we made sure that it was on Leap Day. And today we're getting to know who this girl is, and of course interspersed with her music. Well, I think one thing for sure we want to know, what other interests does she have? And we'll find out just after this. Now, interests.
I'm mostly a homebody. Right? So
you don't sound like one though.
I don't, hey? No, but you know what? I know how to be in spaces where, where my energy is.
Where you mix a girl.
Yeah, I mix.
Yeah.
And I have to be comfortable in order to be that person.
Sure.
But I'm mostly a homebody. I think motherhood probably pushed me into that direction a little bit more.
Okay.
Because you obviously, because also it's just her and I.
Yeah.
So there's not too, I can't split myself a lot.
Yes.
Right, into different directions. And when she's not around, then ke batla go bala because ke be ke kgathetse.
O kgathetseng mang ke yena?
Ke yena.
Or ke ntho tsa hao?
I bo ngwana. So, I always say ngwana o batla o dule o le on your A game.
Yes.
There's not always, you have to be punching at that level.
Yeah.
So I'm mostly at home. I'll be watching TV, not too much because again they take over everything. So TV is hers.
Yeah.
So music, podcasts are the things that I will listen to, and then I'll read as well. At least now there's time to read because she's a lot more independent.
Yeah.
So there's not a mommy.
Yeah.
So how sa qeta buka o
Yeah.
bala buka ya 2019
Yes.
khona we qeta no
Yes.
2024.
What are you reading?
So I'm actually reading now. I do not like the title, but if people read it, they'll understand. It's called Surrounded by Idiots.
Oh.
Okay,
that's catchy.
It's catchy.
I
a
like
bit
it.
offensive.
I like it.
So it's a really nice book in helping you understand different types of people, right? So they break them down according to the rates. We've all done those tests at a different workspaces.
Oh, is that why Sizwe called me blue people the other day?
Probably.
I see you now, Malala.
So I'm obviously probably yellow, so bubbly, sometimes probably green, but it really is. I think it helps you understand. I think with the position I now hold, I have to understand.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm reading.
And now music. In fact, last week you show us you also playlist and things like that. I mean, what are you gravitating towards?
I am generally I love all types of music, but I do find that I keep going back to the older songs, and that's mostly because it had a bit more meaning for me.
Yeah.
I love songs with meaning.
Yeah.
So the type of music I would listen to, it's all fun and games, to listen to that da all the time, but generally, whether it's in conversations and books, whatever, I need to leave with something from that. And music being the place that I go to when I'm feeling stressed, when I'm just not feeling okay, or when I'm feeling happy. It's a mixture. So between hip hop and different genres and gospel especially, but I'll listen to anything, and I think it's an act of love when someone shares their music with you. Quite recently a colleague of mine shared his list, and I look forward to, it's different. I heard it a little bit and I'm like, okay, I need to make time for this. Music.
Now I want you to shoot your shot, right? But of a different kind. If you were to meet anyone that would spare their hour for you to sip from their cup. Why? Because this is your ultimate person.
Yeah.
Forget borders, forget boundaries. Who will that person be?
To be honest, and unfortunately they share a surname, but it would be Kanye Jomo.
Okay.
And why? When she started and it still pains me to this day that she, stopped with the book. I mean, the magazine. Sorry,
Destiny. Yeah.
Destiny.
Yeah.
It was such an amazing magazine for me.
Yeah.
I was young. I saw a lot of black women in it.
Yes.
So I could relate.
Ooh, yes.
The stories that they would share. Powerful stuff. And I remember the tagline was "Beautiful, Powerful You." I would always make sure I had money for that magazine. Every month I had to and I ended up giving them away because I had so many.
Okay.
But it was also something you had to share. So I would want to spend time with her, just to understand. I know she wrote about it briefly about why she started it and whatever, but it would be her, just to understand. Does she understand what she did for a woman like me, who read that magazine while they were in tertiary, and are becoming those women. You know, because for me, it has been, I remember one of my vision boards at the time, she had interviewed Noni Gaza, and she was doing comms for Woolworths, and she was on my vision board.
Yes,
and
I remember that issue.
Yeah, she was the head of. Can I tell you that today, I am now the head of, I always get the title wrong, so forgive me, but head of digital and media relations at Doctors Without Borders. And it's me thinking about the vision board and recognizing that I'm becoming the woman I used to read about. And that's because of her. That's simply just to say thank you.
Should we try and make it happen?
No, I don't know. There'll be too much. Now this will be like...
Come on, you are Seipati.
Yeah.
When you call it, when you take a leap...
Right? It happens.
If you give us permission...
No.
What is the inner voice saying?
The inner voice is saying, it would be great.
Lovely. That's all I needed to hear. I have a update for you, Seipati.
Okay. Another date. I'm joking.
Yes.
Yes.
Second date.
Wow.
I can do better than a second date.
Oh, nice.
So I reached out to your date because they are related with Kanye Dlomo. So since Kanye is no longer obviously staying in the country, she's overseas. We'll see if we can have a virtual meet with her.
Okay.
And she is trying to facilitate that for you, all right?
He's so sweet. Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you for sharing your time, your life, your space, your, what's the word, your leap with us.
Thank you for everything, Uncle T. Everybody, everyone, thank you.
Wow.
Only a pleasure.
Thank you.